Are we ready?
I don't know. Where do we start?
Okay. So Miss Bailey.
Yeah.
So we've had a couple tough closings lately. That's like first and foremost.
I think they like recreate themselves for our team. Like they
Well,
clone themselves.
I agree. I agree. And one of the things that I've noticed is it's almost like every hard one that we have, the next hard one, because it's not always right away. Like this is kind of like a bunch that we have right now. Um, but when we get another hard one, I feel like it's like, oh, you thought you could do this? Let's up it up a little bit and see
You
how
got
good.
this one closed. Let's see if you can get this one closed.
Yeah.
This one by far is the hardest. This was the hardest one to do.
I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah.
Is this like, because for me, I like I was actually talking to my mom after the closing, and I was like, Mom, I think this is probably one of the hardest ones to date in my career.
Yeah.
Like just because even though she was great, I felt like it was so out of our control.
Yeah. I'd say she's top 10 in my career.
Top 10 in your
Yeah,
career?
top 10. Um, for tough ones, I'd say.
That's crazy.
Lot of moving parts. A lot of. I think what made it easier, why it's not further up on the list, was her. She was like with it. Like she stayed
Oh
like
yeah.
motivated to do whatever it took to get to the closing table. Like she was. We need every client to be like her. Like she was the model.
Even the easy ones.
Yeah.
Because even the easier ones that the credit's good, the finances are good, if the personality or like the will to get there is just not very motivated, we still need it does. It still makes it an easy deal harder.
So I want to start off by saying this. Do you remember when you got her as a client? What specific date?
No, so I was actually trying to look before you got here of how I met her and when, and I don't. I literally think the first time I talked to her was on her birthday, and I just went and met up with her. I can't remember.
Well, I don't know when you met her, but in the notes that we keep in the system, February 29th. Freaking leap year. A leap year client.
No, that was her, yeah, and that was her birthday.
Her birthday's on February 29th?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. So
I hope I'm not wrong on that. But I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure like we met, maybe I met her on the phone or I talked to her on the phone the day before, but whatever day
I've never like went back in my career, so I guess in almost 20 years I've only been four or five leap years or 5 leap year days. But I don't know if we should accept any clients on February 29th ever again in our career.
Just don't work that day.
Just don't
shut down the phone.
Yeah, shut down the phone.
Is it always been?
I'll talk to you tomorrow. I don't know. I'm just wondering if we look back at this, if there would be a trend. More joking than anything, but yeah, February 29th is when we started this. What's today? August 2nd? Damn. It's a long time coming. Like 3 closing extensions.
Yes.
And it started off knowing we knew that it was going to be a lot of moving pieces from the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. But I just don't think I feel like okay, so let's just preface, let's go back. Let's go all the way back to so me and her met, we sat down at dinner on her birthday, we went through houses, we found the house, okay? That part's done. We found the home within like an hour and a half. Then we get to the lending piece.
Well, the lending piece was that she hadn't filed taxes in a few years. Her accountant had actually passed away, with COVID. She was an entrepreneur. She is an entrepreneur, and she needed to know how much she needed to not write off. So how much income she needed to show so that she wasn't writing off too much income to disqualify herself. So we went through that, very carefully, got the number, and it almost seems like from that point on, once the taxes were turned in, Then it was like, not quite enough income was disclosed. We're like, what do you mean? Like,
Absolutely. And that was the
yeah,
part that I kind of like, that's where, like, as much as we thought, like, okay, this is going to be a little bit hard, that's where it, like, I felt like it was just little fires at first. It was
yeah.
like a bunch of little fires. Like, we needed to go back, like you said, the income, as much as we thought we had enough, we didn't. And then,
There's a lot authorized users on credit cards that became, a factor.
where she was just on it with her kids, she was just an authorized user with her kids.
You know, and so sometimes those can be good and bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're on an account as an authorized user, that can help you boost your credit, but can also bring it down. The good news is that if it's not your card and
Mm-hmm.
you're on it with someone that's boosting it down, we've learned through this transaction, just get yourself off of it,
Yeah.
rescore that, and that'll help satisfy that part.
Okay, and then let's see. So we gave everything to the tax preparation guy,
Hmm.
tax preparer.
Hmm.
He did that. We then got it okayed with the lender. We sent it in, and then from there, we found out that she had to have what we thought was going to be 3 months worth of
Yeah.
payments.
So no, we were going. This is what happened. So because we knew that there was an amount that she would owe with taxes, then we factored that into the amount she needed to claim because she was just going to go on a payment plan.
Mm-hmm.
But the payment plan, we thought we would only need 1 month of making that payment, but it turned out we needed more than 1 month. Well, by this time, we had already extended over
The first time.
the first time, and adding 3 more months of payment of the payment plan to satisfy the underwriter would have, killed the deal because the builder wouldn't have waited that long.
Yeah, and that's what I was just gonna say is make sure that everybody that is listening to this knows this was a new construction home that was being built that was set to close at a certain time frame.
Yeah.
We originally wrote the contract, thought we could get everything done within that time frame. We extend at this point now we're extending it 30 days
Hmm.
because of the payment issue, or before we found out that the 3 months payments needed to be made. At this point, we are still working with the the people that were going to set up the payment plans to get her to go ahead and sign that paperwork to start the payment plans. We never even got to that part to start a payment plan.
Well, at that point, we kind of knew that the deal was heading south. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way that we had helped manage the expectations all the way up until this point. So now we realize that that game plan was not set up to close on time. So I personally think that the lender didn't want to go and ask the buyer to pay off all of the taxes in its entirety. And part of the reason is that we always try to find the least amount out of pocket and the quickest pathway to the closing table.
Mm-hmm.
So, to his defense, in no realm would we have ever asked the buyer to pay off as much as what she was asked to pay off. And we won't disclose that part,
Yeah.
just because it's a lot, and so when I went to her with her options, I was like, hey, we have to wait 3 months, and I can't remember what other option I gave her, but it was only two options. And she's like, well, what if I just pay it all
Well,
off?
we were going to move her to a different house.
Yeah, another house that was being built that
2
required more
houses down,
time.
but she didn't want that one.
She wanted this house.
Mm-hmm. I know.
So when she came up with the option of paying off the taxes in full of what she owed for those years and not going on the payment plan, then I was like, yeah, that should work.
It was like, hold up, what?
So that option actually got the file back on track.
Back on track.
But now we have to go through, all of the other things. And I remember talking to the processor on the file I think we were both on the same line, and she's like, well, she still has 12 items, 12 conditions to clear. And it was like, what? She was at her wit's end by that time. The buyer was at her wit's end.
She was ready to sign paperwork, to submit a lot of money. But then when it came back with 12 conditions of like paperwork that she had to locate, she had to like get from her kids or get from whoever, like, and then
seemed like a mountain to her.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I mean,
never ending task.
Yeah, and then even then, we have a video and we'll insert it here about how the lender needed this document stamped off by the IRS, and she went round and round with the people in Virginia to get this paper stamped, and they made her, they couldn't do a walk-in. It was going to take her 48 hours. Plus, she didn't know that she could even get that paper stamped.
Well, this was so that was the last document needed to be able to clear the file, and closing was that Friday, and it was like Tuesday. It was like, well, we woke up that week like, okay, this is the only thing we need. This is where we are. She had a plane ticket already booked for Thursday morning, and she's like, I'm done. I'm throwing my hands up. I just need a break. If we're not closing this Friday, I'm still coming. And I was like,
because this is where she vacations. So this is like her second home, away from her business, away from every headache thing that she has. So here is like her calming serenity of mess that she was kind of walking into. But she had the best attitude, like the best.
Well,
she's a boss.
That shows the faith that she had. Just like, hey, something's got to give. Like I've done all that I can. Here I come. So when I knew that she was committed to coming, that's when I made the phone call.
And we'll put that.
Yeah, I made the phone call, and I'm like, okay, this is, what can we do here? And they were like, yeah, she can get stamped here. Just come on in, and it worked.
And it worked.
Yeah. It was cool. Like, I guess as agents, sales agents, we kind of know when the file is tracking, well, and it's on a good course. But, this had so many instances when I was like, this thing's not going to close.
CPR.
Yes, operating on the table.
And I went to Iowa, missed all of this. And you thought, at one point, I remember you calling me after I got back, and you're like, Abigail, this thing was dead. This thing was dead. And somehow I revived it, got it back going before you got back.
Yeah. I wasn't going to call you with it, any of the drama we were experiencing, because you had your own, things to deal with, while you were away. But very satisfying, like,
oh, yeah.
Like we can sell to the high credit scores and plenty of money in the bank, and those are fun deals to close. People that don't have to go through what some do.
I know.
But these ones are rewarding. These ones they'll resonate for the rest of our career. Everything that it took to get her to the table. And
which is just crazy.
big sigh of relief.
I know.
All the players, if it wasn't for the builder allowing us to extend, this doesn't happen. If it wasn't for, the processor, staying engaged, because, we'll insert that video as well about what she had to do just to keep her, kind of mentally motivated.
I think one of the great things is in this process, we had the people that we needed to have. We had a buyer that was willing to fight. We had a processor that she has amazing spirits and was able to pull out the positive out of every negative thing that came, and was just a listening ear a lot of the times. And then we had me and you over here doing everything we can to work with the builder that was probably very frustrated. I could only imagine, but they were willing to work with us. And then we had the lender that was just trying to do everything he could to find different ways around every obstacle that we came in, even down to like the tax preparer, because we were on the phone with him many times trying to make sure that we had this all down to a T. And that's not even to count out her family and her support system that she had. Because
all of her family came through to help out in the end and was there. She mentioned the uncles and her mother, her son, and I think her niece was played a part in this as well. So
yep.
this one right here is definitely worth sharing. I think the message that I would like to convey in telling a story like this is, if you've been denied by a lender, before giving up, come talk to us.
Absolutely.
Let's see if it's really a no, because we don't take no lightly. Like if we hit an obstacle or a dead end, we're trying to figure out, okay, what can we do? Why is it a no? And what can we do to make it a yes?
I agree. I'm kind of smiling and laughing because I remember having a conversation with the lender at the very, very beginning. And he's like, Abigail, she hasn't done taxes in 2 years. He's like, what are you gonna do with this? I'm like, she's gonna file her taxes. Like, what do you mean? We gotta make it work. We submitted a contract. And a lot of people would have so many times. I just been like, I don't know. We're at a roadblock. I don't see a way. And to be honest, I told Miss Bailey this. I said, it's kind of like having me with you is like having a parent there where you're like, what do you do? And you always are like encouraging us to look outside the box and encouraging us and motivating us to be able to find a different way. And there was a lot of times where I'm like, well, I wouldn't have thought of that, like on my own. And that's where having a team and I'm not out here like being scared to call my broker, and I can involve you in these things, and I can involve the lender. Like we have this family essentially where
yeah, and Ron as well, going to his, superiors and trying to find a way to
and he did
make it work, and what's the exception to this, and what can we do to, they look at the file like a story. It's not like just black and white, fitting, round peg in a round hole or whatever. It's okay, look at the story in its totality. Does this file make sense? If it does, then let's find an exception to the condition to help make it happen. So, yeah, just really cool, man. Just really, really cool.
I feel like I gave her like the biggest hug, and I was like, we're gonna go to lunch or dinner tomorrow. In the process, we got a dog together, and she loves my daughter, and we've all became like really a big family. She's gonna come out to our event on September 7th.
Okay.
I asked her, I said, so when are you gonna go home, Miss Bailey? She goes, I don't know if I am. So this might become her primary house.
That's cool.
So,
that's cool.
And she loves it. She loves it.
Well, can't even rest because now we have another tough one we have to deal with to,
yep.
Get those ones through, and it's just, I don't know, I wouldn't have it any other way, It's to me, this is the real estate. This is real estate to me, when you gotta kind of figure out the puzzle and make it work. Um, that sometimes, or at least for me, sometimes where we are in a position to help someone, and I can't unsee the need.
Oh yeah, you do like you put that on me and Jolinda. Like Jolinda's a like prime example. She does that time and time and time again. I mean, we all do it now, and we wouldn't. Not saying that we wouldn't do this if it weren't for you, but when the going gets tough, you have us like finding like it's really like I said, it's like having a parent there that's just like, you gotta figure this one out. You'll help, you'll throw in your support, but at the end of the day, like this one was a team effort. For sure.
Big time.
With the right buyer and the right team,
yeah.
We got her keys in hand today.
Yep, she's closed. February, March, April, May, 5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. For a house that was complete. Basically complete.
A few weeks out, yeah. But that's cool. I'm excited. Definitely worthy of telling the story so that people know if you really want to be a homeowner, call us.
Yeah.
We'll get you.
For sure.
We'll get you.
All right. Let me end this one.